You know how they say,
pain is temporary, GPA is eternal.
See, I might slip up, I might fall, oversleep, forget to call. Wait, hold up, cause the enemy is close, so my back's against the wall. So I push up, till my goals are very small. 2 years deep in school.
what's up, everyone? So just to start off, I want to say thank you to everyone who watched my last video. I've gotten amazing feedback from it, a lot of likes, a lot of views, subscribers, and just, really good comments on my journey through med school and how that has helped people who are on their journey to med school, whether they're in undergrad or a post-bac program. One goal that I have for this week, I always try to make, weekly goals for myself, is to make sure that my room is clean. As people, as humans, we should always be trying to better ourselves. And I think that by creating weekly goals, it gives you something to, try to work towards instead of having a goal of like a month or two. Also, I just started this new book. It's called The Medical Apartheid or Apartheid. I'm not sure the exact pronunciation of the word. It's just a book that I, heard about for a long time. It's about the dark history of medical experimentation on Black Americans from colonial times to the present. So the topic of our vlog today is going to be called The Perfectly Imperfect Medical School Application, the 5 pillars of success. There's no perfect medical school application. Like, to be completely honest with you, your medical school application is going to look very different from mine and other people who apply. It's about how well you put yours together. What are you passionate about? I think about it as almost like a battle. You want to be able to fortify your fortress. That's what I call it, the pillars of success, because it's like you're making a fortress so that when you go into your interviews or when they look at your application, they can say there's no way that they can't see any holes in it. It's strong. To start off, pillar 1, grade point average, GPA. You know how they say,
Pain is temporary, GPA is eternal.
Nah. That's actually not true, but your GPA is very, very, very important because when you come to undergrad, that's the first thing that you can have an effect on. All the clinical research, the volunteerism that you have, that's going to come way down the road when you're a sophomore, junior, or maybe when you're a senior. Your GPA is something that you can affect right now when you get to college. My advice would be when you get to undergrad, make sure that you're establishing those good study habits. Know when you like to study, for how long you like to study, where you like to study, and who you want to study with. Personally, I wasn't a really big group studier. I liked studying individually, or if I needed help or wanted to review, I would then go into a group setting. You need to figure out your study habits and what works for you. I would also say that what's important is going to office hours. You get to know your teachers on a deeper level because at the end of the day, those are going to be the people who are going to write you those letters of recommendation. And to write a really good letter of recommendation, they need to know you. And just as a little caveat or disclaimer for some people who may be in the position where they say, okay, maybe my freshman year or my sophomore year, my GPA wasn't high. They came in the first semester, they might have had, a 2.3, 2.4, 2.5. And they almost wanted to quit, but I know people who started off that low, but they said to themselves, this is where I want to be in the next 4 years. So I'm going to really work hard to bring my GPA up. And they brought their GPA up to a 3.4, a 3.5, and they've gotten into, dentistry programs or medical programs. It's really about living in the now. You can't say, oh, well, I messed up in the past, so I need to change my major. Don't think about that. I would say think about the now. What am I going to do right now to improve myself and help me along my medical school journey? That can go as far as, for this semester, I want to get this type of GPA. Or it can go even to the point where saying, after you watch this video right now, you're going to go study. Pillar number 2, the MCAT. Personally, I wasn't good at standardized tests. I shadowed a medical doctor, and he said, I don't even know if the MCAT is a really true gauge of how well you're going to do in med school, because he said, he did just average on the MCAT. And he says that he feels that he's a competent doctor, but just like anything in life, it's just an obstacle that you have to overcome. So I think that with studying for the MCAT, it's really important to have a very strict regimen. Give yourself at least 2.5 months to 3 months to study for this exam. You should study for the MCAT really in the summer. A lot of people do take classes and they do work, and based on you, you can make a schedule that's going to work for you. So having a strict regimen where you are studying probably 6 days a week and taking one day as a day off is going to be really beneficial to you. We had this little small group conversation the other week, and they said how relaxation really helps when you're taking the MCAT. So I know this one girl, she said that her and her mom did this relaxation technique every morning before she started studying for the MCAT, and it really helped her relax and get her geared up and ready to study for that day. I would say that you want to make sure that you score at least over 500 on your MCAT. People who have gotten into med school probably scoring under 500, but to be really competitive, I would say even score above a 510. Pillar number 3, volunteerism and clinical experience. I'm going to talk about volunteerism first because honestly, my volunteerism helped me lead into my clinical experience. So for volunteerism, what's really an easy way to get into volunteerism is number 1, applying to a hospital near you or in your town. So in my town, there's a big hospital that they know there are a lot of students who are pre-med or on that pre-med track that are going to need volunteer hours. You can go on their website and apply to be a volunteer, and mostly everybody gets accepted. And once you get accepted, they train you and you can pick the department that you want to be in. And for them, they say that you need at least 50 hours for them to write you a letter of recommendation. I think that you should go beyond just doing clinical volunteerism. You should do volunteer work in other aspects of your life that you feel like are important. And then going on to clinical experience. So for me, I was able to get some clinical experience or what people call shadowing because I was walking through the hospital one day and one lady or a doctor came up to me and said, "Hey, do you want to go to med school?" And I said, "Yeah." And she asked me, the different departments or the different fields of specialty that I was interested in. And she literally linked me up with a doctor who was in that field. And it was awesome. So maybe you'll be as lucky as I was to be able to have this experience. What else you could do is, on that same hospital website, you can look at doctors who are in specialties that interest you, and you can email them and say, "Hey, I'm, this year in undergrad, and I'm looking to go to med school. I was hoping that I could shadow you to get some experience." An email as simple as that will go a long way because a lot of times doctors, they get excited when people, email them. They want as many people to get into their specialty as possible because guess what? They love being a doctor and they want to share those experiences. What's also really good is that a lot of medical schools there focuses on global health. Medical schools have programs where you can go to different countries to do medical trips. But also, if you're really passionate about that, a lot of undergrads have programs where you can do that already. And that's going to make yourself look like a really good applicant. For shadowing, I think that 50 plus hours will really make you competitive. So I would say 50 hours of volunteer work, 50 hours of clinical experience. Pillar number 4, extracurricular activities. As an undergraduate student, I know freshman year, I wasn't that involved with things, but I started thinking of sophomore year, junior year, that's when you want to really get involved. Do not just jam-pack your resume with just a whole bunch of extracurricular activities because people are going to think that you're extra involved. No, you want to pick maybe 2 to 3 things that you're really passionate about to put on your extracurricular activities and say, this is what I'm passionate about. And also leadership roles is really important because it shows that you've been in this organization for a long time and you really care about it. And one of the things that I try to say is know yourself, know your worth, know your passion.
Know yourself, know your worth, know your passion.
Because when someone looks at your medical school application, they have to know where are you going in life. What are you passionate about? Especially in your interview. They're going to ask you, okay, so tell me about this organization because it may be an organization that they're not familiar with. So they should be able to hear and feel your passion for that organization. Pillar number 5 is an important pillar, but it's not an end-all be-all, and that's going to be research. I think that research is great because to help people have better medical outcomes, someone's got to do the research. And as medical doctors, we're going to be wanting to help people. So why don't we be the front runners in helping those medical advancements? And I think that it's important in a medical school application because when you're having that interview, they can ask you questions about what was your research on and how did that fuel your passion to want to become a medical doctor? And I think that doing research, for me personally, the research that I was doing at that particular moment was going to go on to help people. And I think that that also showed my passion for medicine in my medical school interview as well as my application. So there we go. Those are the 5 pillars of a successful medical school application, the perfectly imperfect medical school application. Just to recap, number 1, GPA. Keep that GPA up. If your GPA isn't up right now, get it up. Number 2, the MCAT. Probably for some going to be the hardest obstacle in your medical school application. Number 3, volunteering and clinical experience. Make sure that you have 50 hours of volunteering, 50 hours of shadowing. The 4th pillar is going to be extracurricular activities. Make sure that you have 2 to 3 extracurricular activities that you're really passionate about. If you have more, that's fine, but just make sure you have 2 to 3 that you're really passionate about. And number 5, research. Not an end-all be-all, but something that can add to your application to set you apart from other applicants. If there's any medical doctors or any medical school students who watch this video and think I missed something, feel free to drop a comment below to, just give more advice. People who are on the pre-med track who have more questions, you can drop that in a comment below, or you can message me personally. I thank everybody for watching this video. You guys really motivate me to want to continue to do well in med school and make these vlogs so that everybody can get to the point that I'm in. I have to go study, but once again, thank you for watching this video.